the powerful media, they have their own agenda. They have to sell. They have to please their corporate sponsors. So what happens that we fall into the trap by our reaction. Recently, you have seen the reaction to Pope's statement.
Yes.
Now, I would not agree with what Pope said. I would question why such a learned man said the things that he said at that time, knowing how explosive the atmosphere was.
But my feeling, he should have qualified it. But even if he says it or quotes somebody, he should qualify it.
Well, he didn't. That's a fact that he didn't. But how do we react to that fact?
Yes.
And Ashraf, that is where your message of Spirit of Islam really can play a huge role. The way we react to the facts are neutral. Facts are facts. How do we treat? How do we react to those facts? That's in our control.
Well, and that's something a lot of people ask. Why do we see violent reactions on TV? And as you mentioned, it is the action of the few. It isn't all of it. There's 1.5 billion Muslims around the world. What we see on TV, what, 100, 200? Are they a representation of this 1.5 million? But it is true that maybe we are, as Muslims, are emotional. And we react with our emotions rather than reflect and act properly.
Well, there are all kinds of Muslims. There are emotional Muslims. There are very rational Muslims. We are not a monolith. I mean, if we were a monolith, I think things would be easier. I mean, then we could either drown or sail at the same time. We are not a monolith. We have as much diversity as the diversity you see in any other group.
Yes.
And the actions of those few then should not be treated as a monolith either.
Yes.
That's why when I watch CNN or Fox or for that matter, any mainstream media, that media sometimes it gives way over the proportion, way above the proportion voice to people who commit aggression, who commit violence, who react irrationally, who can burn the flags, who can burn the effigies. We are not all that. They are there, definitely, like they are there in
I wonder, why
group.
do they keep burning effigies? We always watch you on TV. It doesn't achieve anything, and yet some people do it. And I've always wondered, I look and I smile when I see it, and I say, here they go again. What is it psychologically? What are they doing?
And particularly doing it by the people who are not supposed to have any idols. They're the reverse idolatry in a way. Instead of worship idols, they're burning idols. But the thing is, they do it because they get a satisfaction out of it. You know, the impotence of the Muslim community at large, the world over, they feel under siege.
Okay.
They're helpless.
Why do they feel that way?
Why do they feel that way? They feel that way particularly after 9/11.
Okay.
When the most powerful propaganda machine can begin to demonize you, that demonization does not take much time or effort. People accept the images that they see on television, and if there is a conscious effort that in order to justify certain things, now you have to demonize a people, those people are demonized. What happened, coming back to the question that you asked, why do people react that way? When they want to react to this, they have no power. They have no power in guns, they have no power in media, they have no power in microphone, they have no power in anything. And what do powerless people do? Powerless people, they just take some bandage, put it together, and set fire to it. What that does, that plays exactly in the hands of the people who are trying to demonize them.
You know, even though I agree with you that the media has a role in presenting this, but I would like to us to take some responsibility too. Some responsibility, like we have lived in this society, what, 50 years? I personally have been 30 years. And I've noticed the Muslims you know, kind of never put the message out, what we're about. Everybody went about his own life, building his career, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we failed to present Islam to the community, how peaceful it is. So now somebody has taken the spotlight and is presenting a different view of Islam. It's not the right view, but I feel we did not do our role. You know, with programs like this, as you say, people like us who would discuss the spirit of Islam, discuss what real Islam is, so the spotlight is not stolen or focused on those who misrepresent Islam in a way. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Spirit of Islam. The topic is, did Islam spread by the sword? My guest today is Shahid Akhtar. And one of the points I would like to bring is, you know, those who say Islam was spread by the sword. When the Mongols, Genghis Khan and Hulagu came into the Middle East, they conquered the Muslims, and actually they killed so many of them, and they've all, you know, they went into Baghdad and killed, some say, destroyed it totally, and some say they killed about 1 million or 2 million Muslims. A strange thing is, 10, 20 years later, these conquerors seen the Muslims, lived among them, and they realized the great message of Islam, and they became Muslims themselves. And this is the beauty. So here, they were conquered. The Muslims were conquered. This is a brutal conqueror, and yet they adopted Islam. So how could we say Islam was really spread by a sword? One of the things before the break we were discussing was, what could we do as Muslims? I feel we didn't do our job. We were busy.
Yes, certainly.
And we had a role to play. And
definitely.
What could we do?
Well, look, the first thing is we have to recognize, and not only we have to recognize, the society has to recognize that we are here to stay. Muslims in the West particularly are here to stay.
Yes.
So that is not something that is debatable.
But when you say the society have to recognize, I feel it's more our responsibility, really.
And what do we do? What do we do? What do we do in order to create that image where we are contributing positive part of this society, or any society we live in for that matter? The first thing to do.
Maybe I would like to point something. I think on the individual level, each one of us is contributing. I am, you are, by being in the society and whatnot. But maybe as a community, we're not contributing.
Well, I'm not just talking about whether we pay our taxes or not.
Not just taxes, but as individuals.
There is collectively, there is an image of Muslims, particularly in the West, which has been demonized after 9/11, particularly. What we have to do, first of all, we have to make sure that we make a very public and very visible effort involving non-Muslims, involving society at large, involving the mainstream in it. And I can assure you that the more I meet people, the more I realize that the mainstream society, this is such a wonderful society. You meet people who pour their hearts out because they want to understand, they want to help, they want to live with you.